give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Live from Portugal, welcome race fans one and all back to Green Flag TV, where today we get set to kick off once again round number 3 of the Beer League. Welcome to the Autodromo Internacionale do Algarve, where we're going to duke it out for the next about hour and 40 minutes, give or take. My name is Ola Ramble alongside Austin Edstrom, this time tornado free, as we get set to bring you all the racing action from a very, very wet race here over in Portimao. Austin, it was the first, I think, true rain race this league has experienced. We saw some very unexpected showers at the tail end of the race at the Virginia International Raceway, but lighted up to the point where a good chunk of the field never put on wet weather tires. Not the case here this afternoon.
Yeah, I don't have any tornadoes threatening me, but it looks like there could be one spawning in Portugal pretty soon here on the sim. I mean, it's coming down pretty good during qualifying. Still got a little ways to the race to see if it actually sticks around, but I mean, if it does, we're gonna be in it for a hell of a show, and heck, qualifying's gonna be incredible.
We take a look back now at the standings, of course, entering racing action this afternoon. Chris Hannigan is going to be finding himself at the top of the points boards, but I believe Hannigan looking to be a no-show here this afternoon. Alex Cofford currently is in that number 2 spot, sits 10 points behind Hannigan, while Romano sits another 5 back. He is tied with Alexander Klenk for the final podium position. Still nice and tight then in the Drivers' Championship, as we'll be locking out the first third of the season after tonight.
Yeah, and I think these guys have a drop week or two. So Chris Hannigan missing tonight might not be the end of the world, but it does kind of stink having to give up your mulligan like that for just not being able to show up. So unfortunate that Chris can't be here to defend that championship lead over Alex Cofford and Giovanni Romano, who've both rocketed up the standings since last week.
We'll be taking a look down at the team's championship, of course. Well, Dumpster Fire, they are sure turning up to impress. They are now sitting a good 52 points up over the Ice Creamers. Party Animals, though, looking like they want to challenge for the top. They have jumped up 4 positions from race number 2. They have broken into the 300-point bracket, just 7 in front of Snack Attack.
Yeah, and Dumpster Fire pretty far ahead in the beer standings, too. They got a 15 beer advantage over Snack Attack. Those bonus points are going to be coming in handy.
Coming in handy, they sure will indeed, and it is just shy of 2 kegs that have been consumed at this point.
God bless.
Entering racing action this afternoon. There you see about a keg and a quarter, a keg and 2/3. I think we'll call that about an even 2/3 there, just shy of it. But going to be breaking into 3, no doubt, before the end of the night. So with that all said and done, it's about time we take a rundown for qualifying. Of course, the fast time still looking to be put down. There's a lot of cars that are now out on the racetrack. It's going to be a tough challenge, though, to really put down the heater laps with how unbelievably tight it is up there in the field.
Not only that, but I think that most of these guys are out there having fun, to be honest, right now, because there's plenty of room on the racetrack for them to spread out, and they're not really spreading out. So I think that they're out there having a little bit of fun in the rain, actually racing each other, because I don't know if they think they're going to get it for the whole race. And this is their first opportunity to do it in a pretty heavy rain shower like this one.
No times have been put down as of yet. Right now, everyone just on those opening laps, and you can still see this rain is absolutely pelting down around this racetrack. You're watching Eric Ronenberg. He's about halfway through his opening lap, tracking down who was the furthest along. I believe will be about the likes of Brian LeBlanc, who's looking to work his way around. Just in front of him, Alex Cofford, I think, is leading up the head of the train. He is now 3/4 of a lap ahead in this field, and he is right behind a pack just up the road.
I'm sure the draft is kind of a big reason why a lot of these cars are running so close to each other, but I'm kind of surprised that they're racing each other so hard. There's a couple cars spinning out of the last, or about the, middle portion of Sector 2, I believe. But they're racing each other incredibly hard in qualifying. It's just kind of funny to see. I think the draft matters, but with the rain coming down, I don't know if I'd want to be anywhere near anybody.
Oh, I agree, you're right. It's going to be an absolutely intense ride for all. You take a look to the likes of Shane Cameron and more. Brooks Clayton puts down the benchmark time. Let's take a ride on board with Tyler Carter for just a brief moment. And I mean, you see all the wheel work already going into these machines. And I mean, there's not a lot of visibility out there on the circuit right now as he rides right behind believe that to be one of the dumpster fire cars off the road, but has to get out of the line there. And you see how much standing water there is? It's practically a drifting track for the final corner. That lip in particular is going to cause some problems for everybody as they go through this road. And again, not a lot of visibility, even this far back. That visibility to sight to braking zones still being impeded.
Yeah, that's why I would just try to find it. Find as big of a gap as possible. I know the draft helps you out a little bit, but I think that spray through the middle of the corners, man, that hurts you so much more. Especially whenever you're trying to find those puddles of standing water. I guess there's one there on the outside of the racetrack. Tyler Carlton catching it. I'm telling you, man, it's just, there's so much standing around, and if you've got that spray right in front of you, you really can't see it coming down to these braking zones.
Well, and of course, you have to remember as well, right, the rule of thumb when it comes to racing, the fact that when you put water on those curbs, that paint becomes like ice, and it is going to be incredibly difficult for these drivers to try and get any sort of times in this afternoon as we look set to try and put down, see who's going to be lining up where. Take a look back to Jordan Babcock at the moment. He is way off at the final corner and comes back up onto the racetrack. He'll have to reset that one and try again for a second lap further on down the line. One other driver trying to go for a second attempt is that Tyler Augustino. He's currently one of many that does not have a time logged on the boards.
Yeah, Augustino not having a time put down yet, but he's working his way around trying to get his benchmark time in. Just trying to get a halfway normal lap. I feel like you got to get something decent that's going to put you mid-pack, and then you really start gunning for it after that, right? You just work yourself into this qualifying session. Augustino doing that right now, coming around the final sector. But I mean, the standing water's everywhere, man. It's almost going to take you a couple laps just to learn where the puddles are and where not to run, because it's all over the racing groove.
There is nowhere that is clear of water right in front of Augustino. You've got Jason Lee in that number 8 car that's trying to put some moves up as well, working through the final couple of corners. And the vision not too bad when you're out in front like this, but of course Lee not doing Augustino any favors just behind, and I believe we just saw Lee go off the road, and wow, there he goes, stepping it out. You saw when he got on that green stuff, that astroturf over the outside. With all that water, it gets wet, and boy, does it ever get slippery. A lot of cars right now trying to get themselves sorted. Tyler Carlton, one of many, looking to put down a second heater.
Man, I really hope this stays around for the heat race and a little bit into the main event, maybe all of the main event. I mean, this is going to be the beer leaguest of beer leagues if this rain keeps coming down like this, man. These guys are going nuts. Oh, on the exit of the final corner. I mean, that's how many feet out of the final corner is that really, that he was still kicking sideways?
It's very much reminiscent of when you hit black ice on the road, right? I mean, you're fine. Oh, look at that. You're not fine anymore. It's incredibly similar as men do that drive up here in Canada during the winters or down south of Texas whenever it snows by more than an inch. We'll let you know.
And that's going to make turn 1 so difficult, man. Turn 1's already hard at this racetrack. It's already a super fast, narrow corner. Now, you got to figure out how to take it slow and not overrun the exit, because you got all that paint, you got all that turf on the outside that's just going to rip you around, send you for a slide. So, I mean, turn 1 on this initial start in the heat race is going to be just ridiculous, man.
There is an art, right, to racing in the wet, and it does make it really interesting to see how all of this action is going to pan out for us here on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon as drivers like Aaron Thacker continue to try to get themselves sorted. We'll only get the top 10 of the qualifying chase. That horizontal ticker does not like big fields in the midst of qualifying here. So we'll see how this whole thing is going to pan on out. But I'm really excited, right? I mean, it's not often we get a true wet race. I know the VSA Sports Car Championship had their 12 hours of Sebring where it got pretty wet on the racetrack, but not even near this level as you see Aaron Thacker go spearing off the road.
I mean, you can just, it looks like a hockey rink out there with how glazed over the water is. And I mean, you can just see it, the sun reflecting off of it just a little bit as the clouds are breaking. But I mean, I can't even describe how difficult it is, but it's so much fun, man. They've done a great job implementing the Tempest system. And I mean, just check out all the standing water on the inside of the racetrack. You can't really hold that thing too tight and get any type of meaningful amount of throttle onto that thing. Everywhere in this racetrack, you just see standing water.
Look at the 74 right in front of Thacker, kicking the back end out as well. one of the Flying Donuts crew trying to get themselves ordered some more time. And even on the roof cam, you can start to see everything fogging up, and it gets so difficult to try and find your blinds, and both of them going to miss that apex. Now, of course, they're not wanting to get too close to the apex because look at all that standing water down to the inside of the corner. It is going to be a hell of a time for these drivers. We're halfway through qualifying. Thacker will not get an improvement on this lap time this time by because of that big slide that he had. But, I mean, again, going in car, you can't see a dang thing out the windshield.
I mean, there's nothing you can really do. How do you spot turn one? How do you know where to brake?
You spot the brake lights of the guy in front of you.
And he still broke too late. So that just kind of shows how difficult it is. He has to take a tow, go back to pit road. I mean, you cannot be following somebody down to that corner, and there's about to be 47 of them going down into that little corner in the wet. No, man, this is gonna be the most. Oh my God! What a wreck out of the final corner from Barrett Morton. Okay, I was about to say we might see the biggest wreck in beer league history at the start. That was one of the biggest hits I've seen.
Yes.
Into the driver's side door.
Yeah, Barrett Morton just demolished the pit window, the pit wall coming off the final corner there, and well. Not the best of looks there on that one. We'll get a better look at this one for you here this time by, but a monster of an impact, and that was just drifting out wide, just as we've already seen so many times, and then body slammed that car big time. What a huge hit.
Get the paramedics out. Do you think the track's getting wetter, or do you think that the lap times are going to start getting faster as we continue to go into this thing?
I think they're going to get slower. I think for many drivers, we've already seen the best laps they're going to put down. Cofford has only put down one time lap, and that is why he is now into pit road. He holds the provisional pole by over a second. So I think Cofford, the driver that picked the weather and track rewards for this week, definitely the favorite to win this afternoon. Christopher Darling looking to put his first lap time in. Darling, of course, the owner of the Speed Tires Plus Cup Series that we run on Thursday nights, making the jump over, making his series debut in the Wednesday Night Beer League.
Oh, welcome to Mr. Darling for coming to the Beer League, and you picked a heck of a week to do it, man. Goodness gracious. maybe trial by fire. My word.
And
trial
he jumped over after
one
of Speed's main sponsors and the former Stan Hausman made the jump over as well.
Look at that. Inner green flag TV workings between the leagues. I like to hear it.
Well, I mean, Austin, you know there might be something else that might be in the works as well, which...
oh, is that the case?
TBD. It's still figuring out some of the details, but we'll see.
We're giving off Disney Channel crossover vibes.
Right?
Welcome to the Wizards of whatever, the Wizards of Waverly Place or Sweet Life on Deck thing. I don't know, man. They did some crossover. I had it and then I ruined it.
Aaron Thacker didn't go third quick. Jeremiah for fourth. Chris Bright will not manage to put in another lap time. His best lap so far, 2:25.434 for his third lap here on the afternoon. Tyler Carlton trying to see if he can put in a better lap time than that 2:29.5 that he put in for his second lap. His first lap was a 1:30. Works across the start-finish line. And no improvement. It is a 2:29.59, and I don't believe, in fact, that lap was counted. That may have been an outlap for the driver, the number 45. And you've still got, there were 36 cars right now that have put down times. There's still over 10 that have not put down lap times.
Tough to get a clean lap in, man. I mean, how do you stay on track? It's pretty tough in this scenario, especially, I mean, the Tempest weather system's still new, right? So, oh man, is that Brooks Clayton going around again?
I believe it is, and he has found the wall.
Did he just do the same thing?
Not as Barrett Morton, but he did find the pit wall further down. Tom Adol puts in his first lap, goes 37th quick with a 2:35. That is 12 seconds off of Alex Cofford's time. The lap times are nothing to write home about right now for a good chunk of this field. And again, I cannot say this surprises me in the slightest. Alexander Klenk, seeing if he can improve his 14th place position to 26.1 and 226.0 for his first two laps. And on this fourth attempted lap, no time logged. It will be an outlap for the driver of the 013.
You know, I was questioning why everybody just jumped out on the racetrack immediately and wasn't giving any space on the first couple qualifying laps. I think our answer is because they knew the rain was going to keep coming down and get the track even wetter, and they were going to run slower and slower and slower lap times the entire time. So, I mean, a good bit of strategy at the beginning just to go out and go balls to the wall and just hope and pray that you can get past guys as they make mistakes. But I mean, it's worked out for Crawford. I mean, he laid that down on his first lap, didn't he?
Well, I mean, that's pretty much the name of the game, right? Just try and see if you can put in the absolute best lap time that you possibly can right out of the gate. And when the rain starts coming down, then you can worry about backing out a bit later. From my understanding, the weather, and we'll have to consult the radar for this, of course, but the weather should be backing off by the time we reach the main event. So it could be a wet to dry race for the 1 hour main event later on this afternoon.
That is kind of what it's looking at. The time doesn't skip at all whenever we go sessions, does it? Or switch sessions?
I don't believe it does.
Okay. As long as it doesn't, then we should have it through the heat race. And then maybe the very beginning of the main event, we have like a sprinkle. So yeah, the track should be wet still, I guess, for the main event.
Stan Hausman still unable to put down a lap time. Other drivers that are looking to put down times. Josh Freed, you're watching him right now. Jordan Babcock, Alexander Hammonds, Bear Morton, Adam Jackson, Stefan Purcell. Giovanni Romano has not attempted to put down a lap, but that is, again, no surprise. He almost never tries to put down a lap, even though we do, of course, score the top 12 in that sprint race. Whoa, a big snap there for Freed. He'll come across the line, ticks away his second attempt at a lap, and it will finally put him on the boards. He is up to 35th.
Tanner Klein found the inside wall. Oh, somebody else a little bit further back might have done the same. It seems like the last corner seems to be catching people out a lot, which is kind of surprising to me because it's such a wide corner. You got plenty of space out there to, I don't know. It's surprising to me. I figured turn one would be tough, but the final corner?
Well, it's the speed, right, that you carry through that. You're constantly picking up the throttle more and more all the way through that corner. And it's also a pretty big valley. You go down the hill before diving back up to the front straightaway. So there is a lot of standing water that collects right at the base of that corner. That is what catches a lot of people out right when that wheel starts to straighten up. The car often doesn't straighten up with you.
How many spins off the start do you think we see? Just getting through the gears.
A lot. A lot.
I think that's safe.
You know that video? You know that old video at Crandon with all the buggies trying to get through the mud at about 5 miles an hour, and how like maybe 3 of them made it over the first hump.
Oh man.
You
think that's what it's gonna look like?
Oh no.
Ye have little faith.
I mean,
I think it'll be close though, to be fair.
Right.
It's gonna be pretty tough at the beginning. I mean, especially because some of these guys are probably gonna be starting in that final corner.
Correct me wrong, but it does look like the rain has eased off a bit. Still pelting down to the front straightaway, but at least in the final corner there, it looked like it had backed off somewhat.
It is starting to get a little weaker, but I mean, we're still in the yellow on the radar. We can turn into meteorologists now, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, we're still barely in the yellow. We're getting into the green, so it's starting to weaken a little bit. But we still have probably 30 minutes of rain.
John Combs and Ben Williams, 2 drivers that are working their way back into the start-finish line. This is for their final attempt at laps. And for both drivers, John Combs improves from 17th to 16th. Williams does not improve at all. Greg Beckman, one of the other drivers that is looking to put down his last attempted lap here on the afternoon with just a handful of quarters to go.
I have a good idea for our road course races from now on.
Oh?
Yeah, I got a green screen in my closet. Put it behind my setup, move the chair out of the way. We can have a meteorology report for the road course races.
I mean, it'd work.
It would be overkill. But I would have fun with it. Just putting that little nugget in your head. I don't know. You don't sound like you know what to think about or what to do with it, but write it down in your little notebook.
We got 20 seconds left of the clock here in qualifying as times continue to tumble in. Jordan Babcock just went to 43rd. Corey Berry will shoot to 23rd. And how about that for Alexander Klenk, putting in a heater at the buzzer to go up to the front row?
I didn't think it was possible. I did not think anybody was going to be able to put in any kind of meaningful lap. But I mean, you mentioned it. The rain started lightening up a little bit, and well, Klenk found some speed right at the end.
Well, that's said and done. Looks like the rain is picking up, so let's take a rundown of what your starting grid is going to look like for the sprint race here this afternoon. 15 minutes about to kick off, and 50 cars gridded up and ready to rumble. Alex Covert starts on the pole alongside Alexander Clegg. Nate Franklin will start in third with Austin Tucker in fourth. Darren Bai is in fifth. Chris Bright is sixth. Aaron Thacker is in seventh. Tyler Augustino is down in eighth. Keaton Crothers is in the ninth spot with Evan Campbell in 10th. Steve McClendon is 11th. Brooks Clayton is 12th. Alex Harrison 13th. Shane Cameron in 14th. Brian LeBlanc is 15th with Ryan Clanton in 16th. John Combs 17th. Matthew Dupuis in 18th. Jimmy Castro and Ben Williams round out the top 20. From there, it's Chris Flams, Eric Ronenberg, Corey Barrett, Ron Wolf, Greg Beckman, Adam Jackson, Matt Verstappen, Alexander Bueller, Jacob Noyes, Todd Badul, Tyler Carlton, Jason Lee, Adam Klein, Rodney Flores, Michael Derby, Kyle Blevins, Adam Joseph Elhott, Christopher Darling, Josh Freed, Alexander Hammonds, Baron Morton, Tyler Vietman, Jordan Babcock, Ryan Murphy, Tanner Klein, LeFaber, the last driver to put down a qualifying lap, with Giovanni Romano, Stan Hausman, Steph Purcell, and Graham Jordan either not opting to or failing to put down lap times in qualifying.
I don't know how you do that, man. That's a mouthful, to say the least. Man, I can't wait to get this thing started, man. Look at this. I mean, you can tell the rain's starting to lighten up a little bit, right? We're getting to that point, but it's still coming down. The track is still wet. Turn one is still going to scare the heck out of me, I'm telling you. And if I'm scared from the broadcast booth, I can't imagine what the guys mid-pack feel. I mean, if you're anywhere 10th on back, turn one is just... You're hoping and praying that you just find a hole.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this is all going to pan out, right? You got a few seconds left, and I think we're going to have less than 30 making it out of turn one unscathed. So, well, let's see how this is all going to pan out. The revs will build. Sprint racing action is underway for the Autodromo Internacionale du Algarve, and it is a slow but solid getaway from Alex Covert, all ready to spin it around towards the rear end, and 50 cars thundering into the first corner.
Oh my word, what a sight. If they all get buckled down and get through turn one, I mean, I'll eat a hat. I'm telling you, there's no chance, man. Oh, they're wrecking into turn two, or further back into turn one.
We knew that was an inevitability, and it is not nearly over yet. There's a lot of cars still that have yet to get through the opening couple of corners. We got more being shunted off on the right side of the, well, left side of the racetrack, right side of your screens, and now all coming together as they work back up and over to the rise. This field is in hot pursuit of each other. There is a lot of time still yet to go.
And somebody using the runoff. Oh, it looked like a good idea, but he caught the turf on the paint on the outside, and it just about ripped him around. Who was that? That's not Dupuis, I don't believe. Ronenberg. Oh man, it looked like a good move, just taking the 1X. Oh, but more guys going around in the hairpin.
Quite a few drivers having problems here early on. Alex Crawford gets away clean at the head of the field. Well, the rest of the pack getting through a little further behind, and now more cars going out and wide as everyone trying to just get themselves, I think, sorted and take it easy for the opening salvo of laps, right? I mean, you got to be there at the end if you want to really go over those positions. For many, though, it is already game over. Let's take a look down and see what happened over down at turn number one as quite a few drivers came together at the opening corner.
Yeah, that was Keaton Crothers stuck off the racetrack. Coming through the third sector, but here, oh my word, who was that way far back in the white and blue car that just completely disregarded the laws of the road? Holy cow, man, he came flying in there as if there wasn't a yellow light.
You see more cars getting shunted around. That was all down into turn 3 and beyond. But apart from that, a relatively clean getaway by rain racing standards for the beer league, and I think they'll be content to call that one a job done. Dupuis going around, though, at one of the final hammers on the racetrack. Three-way battle between McClendon, Campbell, and Harrison for 9th through 11th.
McClendon able to take the spot for now on the inside. Coming around that long right-hander that we've seen so many troubles on in qualifying. Evan Campbell running a little wide. That hasn't been working through qualifying all night. But we get into the heat race and he makes it stick a little bit further back.
Oh boy, that's
somebody
Bueller.
goes spin off the racetrack. Oh, Alexander Bueller.
That's a bad place to be stopped. One more car goes spearing off, and I'm pretty sure that car just went hard into the tire barriers.
Jonathan Lefebvre, oh man, he went spinning off from the inside of the racetrack. I think he got dove bombed, or yeah, he got a huge hit from Tyler Vietnan.
And now Crawford under fire. Tucker and Clank are hanging with him pretty well, and they're making contact for second as Alexander Clank fights to the inside of Austin Tucker up over the rise, and now trying to hang on. That lets Crawford get a little bit more breathing room. With the 243 of Tucker right now being really hounded by the 013 of Clank.
Yeah, they're coming down to that heavy hairpin where you can maybe expect a move, but Austin Tucker drives it in way, way deep, all the way to the back bumper of Alex Crawford up in the race lead. Not able to do anything on exit, but kind of went defensive there by just driving in deeper into the corner. Clank couldn't even get to him.
You wonder if this is going to be a race where Crawford is going to be going to the back of the field. And oh boy, they're almost 4 wide into the hairpin deeper in the field. This is for about 23rd on the racetrack, and they're still 3 wide all the way through the corner. Bueller's been spun off the racetrack just behind. You see him just rejoined. Oh, sorry, that was Brian LeBlanc just coming back onto the racetrack. It's hard for even us to tell who's who with all the spray right now that you got out here on the racetrack, covering up a good chunk of the paint schemes. But hey, I'd say it's better. It's still easier to read than dirt when you have mud being slung over all of the paint schemes.
Yeah, I don't envy you at all with that. I already have a hard enough time with the paint schemes, man. I couldn't imagine the dirt stuff. But Romano on the outside here, trying to take the position away, but don't think he was able to do it. As we look at the race lead, Austin Tucker is really pressuring Alex Crawford. He actually got side by side not too long ago, and he's right on the back bumper coming around the final sector.
Those windshield wipers working overtime. Try to see if they can catch up to him. Ryan Clanton going around towards the tail end of the field, and this is problems with the 25 car. Oh, gets into it with the Ben & Jerry's machine. This is one of the ice creamers that goes around, and Wheat Thin's car going to be facing the wrong direction now at the back end of the field. So everyone else, battle's still picking up, and Rod Wolf caught behind a pair of them.
Yeah, 2 of them fighting coming off of the final corner. Ron Wolf might be trying to make this a 3-wide battle down the straightaway. I probably wouldn't recommend it, but I mean, how do you see? You can't see anything. You don't even, I mean, you can literally just see the tiny little red lights, and the rain is not even coming down that hard at this point, right? It's just from the spray. There's still a light sprinkle. I mean, maybe a little bit more than that, but most of that is just the spray coming up from the cars in front. You cannot see anything coming down to turn 1. Finally down the hill, maybe you get a little bit of a break to where you could possibly spot a braking zone, but you can kind of see everybody's running wide, so I don't think anybody's hitting the braking zone right.
3 wide down the pit straight, and almost 4 again as LeBlanc, Crothers, Morton, and Purcell all going into it, and LeBlanc goes in hot. He got doored by the 809, and Brian LeBlanc going to lose another handful of positions. It has been a horrid sprint race for Brian LeBlanc. He is down 19 spots. Not as bad as Keaton Crothers, though, who is down 21. Most spots dropped by far in this entire race. Drives that away the most. Giovanni Romano, no surprise there. But how about Josh Freed? Plus 23, he's into 16th.
Hey, that's a pretty good run from Freed. He's got, what, 8.5 minutes left to catch 4 guys, and all of a sudden he's on pole for the main event. That would be a pretty daggum good heat race out of Freed. I don't think it's out of reach either, man. I mean, he's got pretty good lap times coming. Running the 16th place spot. They're fighting in front of him. A car off the racetrack. I mean, a couple more of those, and he's got it for free.
Kevin on the late night in our YouTube chat has said use the Wisconsin maneuver. Turn on the high beams when it's raining sideways. I don't know if high beams will help you in this instance, but the thought's there. I don't know what the Wisconsin maneuver is either. I thought turning your high beams on when it's raining sideways is a universal move. I mean, heck, people up here in BC turn on their high beams even when it's broad daylight on a sunny day, so what do I know?
Yeah, no, I haven't heard of it having a name, but hey.
It's a new one.
If,
it must rain a lot in Wisconsin for that to be named.
That's one of those things where, like, I feel like there's a lot of drinks that are, like, named after a place, but then, like, you go to a different place and they have the same drink, but it's just got a different name.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Oh, jeez, it's going around. Able to save it. Okay, good save from the 87.
Just caught up with that standing water, the apex.
Yeah, it's the very bottom of any of these corners, right? You cannot get down to the curbing whatsoever. I don't even think it's worth a shot.
Campbell spun into the pit road as the rest of the pack flying up on him now as they work their way up and over the rise of the pit straight. Oh,
that was a big hit.
Boy.
Verstappen tried to make it back-to-back.
Oh boy, did he?
I mean, he was the one that was sideways, a little bit further back as the camera panned. That last corner, man, I wouldn't have expected it, but all that puddling is just terrible, and then you get out on the paint on the outside, man.
That was a big hit you talked about rightly for Campbell, and then you mentioned Verstappen trying to go for the double play. Way off
Looks like the same thing. He just saved it though.
He did. He did a great job to save that, in fact.
I feel like he was able to save it because he got loose later, right? He didn't really force it, I guess. I feel like he let the car rotate out a little bit further, didn't turn the wheel too much on the paint. Now you got to turn it to get back on the racetrack, but I just feel like maybe a little bit less aggressive with it, which maybe allowed him to keep his foot in that thing and drive it, or drive out of it. But of course, as soon as I say that, he spins it around on the exit of the hairpin. I mean, come on, Mac.
It didn't quite go. That's what you get for talking about a driver for an extended period of time, you know. You should know not to do that in this league by now. Man, that was the 809 of King Brothers that went in there.
It's not my fault he got torpedoed. Kyle Blevins just spun out on the racetrack, too. Oh, man. These are the race leaders? No, this is Clank and Austin Tucker. Conference checked out a little bit, but Tucker and Clank are going at it. Clank on the outside, trying to pinch Tucker down into that standing water on the inside, but Tucker is having none of it, trying to run him out wide to the paint. Also not able to do it. Clank fighting back to the inside, coming out of the final couple corners.
Clank will take the spot. Austin Tucker going to drop back to third, and now Tucker trying to battle back to the inside. A beautiful crossover there, setting him up for the final turn here, and it's a very long sweeper all the way up and around. Can Clank hang on against the outside with Austin Tucker fighting them out around that inside lane? Now back up and over the rise. It's an absolute dogfight right now at the head of this field. Clank going to cut in for that second position. Tucker cannot make the move down to turn one.
What a battle between those two coming around the entire third sector side by side. That final that last corner, man, it's been so tough for so many people, and they're able to do it too wide, fighting for the second place spot. Just under a couple minutes to go in the heat race. Great stuff between Clank and Tucker. Oh my gosh, a massive accident on the front straightaway. We just had a double dose of pit wall incidents. Giovanni Romano was one of them. Adam Jackson the other. And I think they hit in the middle.
And I think we just had a third car.
Yep. Again.
So Romano went into the pit wall quite deliberately.
Oh, okay.
And then Adam Jackson came flying in with a big head of steam, and now keep tabs on this because this is going to get a little bit hectic here behind. Where does number 3 come sliding in?
Oh no!
Right in
there.
the background, yeah. Way in the
there's
back.
3 and 4, 3 and 4, man. I just didn't. I did not think the last corner would be such a killer. We got a 3-wide move. Mac Verstappen stuck in it.
Whenever
Verstappen actually able to get both spots.
Well, here's a tip, right, for rain race calling. Whenever you're looking for trouble spots, look for the elevation change. The bottom of the hills, those are always going to be the main trouble spots to look out for.
And it's all that paint on the outside too. I feel like the hill kind of makes you have to kind of run wide. You're trying to get as much gas into it, let the wheel out of it to get as much of a run as you can. But you get out there and you just get 2 wheels on the paint, and you're going so fast that if you get 2 wheels on the paint, you're getting 4. And then you're looking to slide. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Everything is kind of built against you whenever the rain comes out in that corner.
Tucker gets back around Alexander Clank for the number 2 spot, making a beautiful pass there around the outside. 3 minutes left to go. Believe it'll be 2 laps to go then in the sprint race when we take the checkered flag this time by. There is a lot of arguments going on deeper in the pack, it looks like. As Bear Morton and Jordan Babcock are continuously finding themselves on the crash marker, even though they're on different ends of the racetrack. Jacob Noyes has just gone around to the back of the field. Of course, Noyes making, I don't believe this is his debut. It might be, though. He is, of course, the OMSRL president for the Tuesday Night Truck Series. So quite a few leagues hopping over to Wednesday nights to see what all the fuss is about.
I'm loving the league crossover, man. The beer league just attracts at all, man. It's so good. I mean, 40+ car fields week in, week out, and you're coming out here to drink beer and run around a road course in a car that conducts, I mean, let's be honest, really good racing. I mean, after last season with late model stock, this car's kind of a breath of fresh air.
And it is confirmed, white flag. This will be the last lap of the sprint race. I didn't think they'd make it. I thought they'd make it in time for 2 laps. I guess I was wrong. Ryan Clancy's going to drop a handful of positions, and Kyle Blevins is down and into pit road. He is going to be bailing out to the back of the field, but covered on a breakaway by 2.5 seconds from the rest of the pack.
So now it just comes down to, does Alex Cofford give up the race lead and go all the way to the back, like he's known to do week in and week out?
Well,
I mean, he's dominated this thing. I feel like you got to stay in it for the points, man.
Well, I mean, and he did pick this track and this weather, right, being the defending champion. So I think that gives him a little bit more incentive to stay out in front, especially considering how wet this track is. It's not going to be easy to battle your way up to the point from way back there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know we're talking about it, and he's just going to peel off the racetrack at any moment. But, I mean, with the point standings being the way they are and how you earn points in the heat race, I feel like you kind of are suckered into having to do it, man. You got to have those points. I mean, you can't drink 12 beers instead of getting the 12 points for finishing first. You can, but you're going to be struggling tomorrow morning at work.
Less than 60 seconds to go. I'm curious where the clock's going to fall on this one, because I swore that they had enough for 2 laps, not 1. But I may very well have been off on my math. One car going way out wide. I believe that to be Stan Hausman. That's going to bail off and into the gravel trap. Top 20 right now, separated by 35 seconds. Just 2 corners to go.
I feel like they have to get to the line in time, right? There's no way it takes them 20 seconds. Well, I mean, it's a pretty long stretch, I guess. But
white flag
I think
was
Coffin's
out,
going to do it.
10 seconds on the clock, and checker flag is in the air. So whether that clock expires or not, we're going to make it. He is going to pull off the racetrack.
Oh,
and
I thought he was going to just
allow. Oh no, Carver will take the checker flag. He took it in pit road. Tucker picks up the win with Clink in 3rd, Franklin in 4th. Now, my big question: did he make pit road speed?
No, he didn't even try. I thought he was going to hit the tire barrier and give us a show, so I was kind of disappointed, to be honest with you. Just got a speeding penalty. That's no fun. Come on, Alex.
Ben Williams and Ron Wolf will cross the line to the photo finish. Further behind, battle is on for 25th and more.
We still got 60 more minutes of this, man, and it's going to go from wet to dry after we finish up this heat race. So we got a little bit more strategy involved into it. I think it will, man.
I don't think it'll go fully dry, but it'll stop raining at least.
Well, I feel like the cars will dry off the track enough to make a dry line to make us put on dry tires. I mean, like, it's going to be a wet tire to dry tire race.
Hammond's breaking out the back end, and that will give Tyler Vietton a free spot at the buzzer.
So we're going to be seeing that for a while. And you know what's even crazier? We're going to get that dry line. They're going to put on slick tires, and then there's still going to be a lot of wetness on the paint, especially out of that final corner. So if you think the final corner is bad right now, I think it's going to be even worse as soon as that dry line forms.
Last of the cars coming across the start-finish line in your 15-minute sprint race. Still waiting on the official guarantee that those were the last cars across the line as classic beer league celebrations ensue. And as of right now, we are still waiting. There is still a couple stragglers out on the track.
Man, my perspective from that was great. As soon as your beer league shenanigans comes out of your mouth, somebody just goes flying from one end of my screen to the other end of the turn 1 wall.
I'm not surprised.
it's come to become, or it has become standard in the beer league. It's always been standard, I suppose. Have a little bit of fun in the heat. It's all business in the main event, though. But we're still going to see some incidents. I mean, look at all the standing water on the inside of the racetrack on the starting grid.
Feel bad for Barney the Flagman's right arm. It's getting all wet out there, having to poke out from under his canopy to wave that flag.
They got to build him a bigger canopy.
No kidding.
Just extend it out a little bit. Come on now.
Well, race results are in for the 15-minute sprint. Let's take a rundown of those results now as we get ourselves set up for that main event in just a little while. For the sprint race, it is Austin Tucker taking the win by half a second over Alexander Clank. because, of course, Copper got himself that good old speedy penalty. Franklin picks up third. Chris Bright was fourth. Aaron Thacker was fifth. Tyler Oxino sixth. Clayton, McClendon, Combs, and Williams round out the top 10.
11th was Ron Wolfwood, Darren Bay in 12th, Alex Harrison 13th, Chris Flams in 14th, Josh Freed rounds out the top 15 with Jeremy Castro in 16th, Shane Cameron right behind him in 17th, Eric Ronenberg in 18th, Corey Barrett 19th, and Greg Beckman rounds out the top 20.
21st place holds Keaton Crothers with Matthew Dupuy in 22nd. Cofford was 23rd with Mac Verstupid at 24th. So Cofford not going to get his back of the grid start after all. He'll be starting dead set in the middle of the pack or be from pit road. Vietnam was 25th. Hammonds, Clanton, Lee, Badol, and Klein for the top 30.
31st is Adam Mailhot, and 32nd, Stephen Purcell. 33rd, Christopher Darling. 34th, Barrett and Morton. 35th place is Jacob Noyes with Brian Murphy in 38th. Brian LeBlanc in 37th. Graham Jordan, 38th. Jonathan Lefebvre, 39th. And Evan Campbell rounds out the top 40.
And that will leave Kyle Blevins finishing this race one lap down, along with Tyler Carlton, Stan Hausman, Giovanni Romano, Adam Jackson, Jordan Babcock, Alexander Bueller, Michael Derby, Adam Klein, and Rodney Flores brings up the rear. Sprint race in action is complete. When we return, it's 60 minutes of action from Portugal on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Race in action getting set to kick off over here from the absolutely beautiful Autodromo Internacionale du Algarve. I did not almost forget what that name was. The clouds are pulling away, and as we move into the race session, the rain has come to a stop. It's going to be drying out from here on out towards the end of this race. Let's take a rundown of your starting grid as we duke it out for 1 hour of main action coming on up after this. Darren Bai starts on the pole with Ron Wolf in second, Ben Williams third, John Combs fourth, Stephen Clinton fifth, Brooks Clayton sixth, Augustino, Thacker, Bright, and Franklin round to the top 10. With race winners and runner-up, Alexander Clegg and Austin Tucker bring it up to the top 12 for the top 12 invert. Harrison is 13th with Flames at 14th. Josh Reed is 15th. Jeremy Castro 16th. Shane Cameron, Eric Ronenberg 17th and 18th. With Corey Vera and Greg Beckman to round to the top 20. From there, it is Keaton Crothers, Matthew Dupuy, Alex Copper, Mac Verstubben, Tyler Vietnam, Alexander Hammonds, Ryan Clanton, Jason Lee, Tom Badol, Tanner Klein, Adam Joseph Ailhart, Stephen Purcell, Christopher Darling, Barrett Morton, Jacob Noyes, Ryan Murphy, Brian LeBlanc, Graham Jordan, Jonathan LeFaber, Evan Campbell, Kyle Blevins, Tyler Carlton, Stan Hausman, Giovanni Romano, Adam Jackson, Jordan Babcock, Alexander Bueller, Michael Derby, Adam Klein, and Rodney Flores.
I think you need to start charging by how many names you have to say in the starting lineup.
I feel like we would lose this league's business very quickly if we did that.
Oh, man. I got to point out, a lot of people gridded, saw that the track was dry as heck on the front straightaway, and ungridded and put on wet tires. But then the camera was panning as you were going through those 50 names, and there's still a good chunk of wet spots around this racetrack. So none of these guys know that. And once they get there, I think all of them on the dry tires are going to start freaking out.
There's only a few that are actually on dry tires right now. Take a look at the SDK overlay list that I got over here on my timing screen. Hammonds and Clanton are on dry tires. Purcell's on dry tires. Noyes on dry tires. And Jackson on dries. Everyone else still on the wet weather compound.
Oh, I don't know. It might have not updated for some of these guys that started, because I'm telling you, so many of them ungridded and gridded back. I'd be shocked if it wasn't a higher number than that.
We'll find out in a moment, won't we, as we'll get set to duke it out for green flag racing action. The revs build. And it's go, go, go from Portugal as Darren Bai hightails it off. One car already pulling off and into the grass over the right-hand side. There's one car speared into the wall on the left-hand side. Firing down the hill and in towards turn number one. Ron Wolf pulling clear in the mad scramble into turn number one. And around goes the front runner. Second place spins around on the 360 slide, trying to recover up through the field as everybody right now stacking them up in turn numbers 3 and 4.
Oh, that should have been so much worse for Darren Bai, but somehow got the ship righted, but everybody's crashing further back. I think these guys on dry tires going through that wet turn 1 and 2 are getting caught out. And they're still wrecking coming out of turn number 2. Huge hit as multiple drivers off the racetrack trying to find their way back on without causing an accident. Oh, they're slipping and sliding all over the paint.
A lot of drivers still trying to see if they can get themselves sorted. We dive deep into the chicane and trying to see if everybody will manage to hang firm throughout the mid-quarter here as we start to work ourselves into the second sector of the racetrack. 3 wide coming down the hill. That very seldom works, even in normal conditions, let alone still slick conditions. And out on the racetrack, a few drivers being spun around, but other than that, we're looking all clean. All the dry tire runners have dropped back quickly right now. Stephen Purcell, the furthest driver up on slick tires, but he is running all the way back in 36th.
Wow, I'm surprised that there's not more on them, but I guess some of these guys maybe they went back to the. Oh man.
Constantine, and around goes Franklin, and around goes more.
Clank losing a ton of positions. Oh, is another car spinning at the base of the hill or coming up the hill? How many cars are around right now? Oh my word! Alexander Hammonds, Alex Harrison, Corey Barrett, Adam Mailhot. Ryan Clanton has now crashed. We got a bunch of mayhem.
I mean, did we expect any less from the beer league?
Well, that's a fair point. Well, not in the rain with a couple of these guys on drives, that's for sure. I guess. Oh man, we got another one. Jason Lee, John Combs.
Yeah, John Combs, and I think that was Adam Jackson that had gone around with him at the top of the hill. Take a look back, and around goes the 16. Just spins that thing off, and in fact, I think John Combs had his whole separate incident here. He did.
Yeah, it's Jason Lee. Coming around this, I mean, it's a lot more wet out there than I guess you would expect, and I think it's still catching these guys out, even if they are on the wets. That's a deep, deep move into turn one. Yeah, that was never gonna work. Brooks, wait, he's still in the lead.
It'll be a slowdown, I would imagine. Surely.
That would be the coolest 1X possible if it's not a slowdown. He's still running up there, man.
And now bobbling down for Brooks Clayton as well as Ben Williams trying to chase after him. You can already see that spray is starting to dissipate a little bit more from these cars. And I think, given about 20 minutes here, we'll be seeing these drivers make that change to slicks. I
just love to see that what Brooks Clayton just did was a viable line and it worked. That was like the Toyota GR86 version of the Hail Melon.
Except it didn't hit a wall.
Yeah, but he didn't. He went so far off the racetrack, it might as well have been. I mean, that's track extending to its max and not getting punished for it.
We also got Matt Verstappen right now in a big battle with Keaton Crothers, Austin Tucker, and of course your sprint race runner-up Alexander Klenk in the fray as well. So all of these drivers trying to see if they can duke it out for positions further up the road. Verstappen trying to hang on to it as much as he can muster. 3 wide and up the middle will go Klenk, and that nearly sent Crothers around to the Tucker. Well, it'll send Crothers around here.
Oh man. Spins back across into the kitty litter. Gonna get it back going, but man, look at all those spots. He's losing somebody else further back. Is that Jordan Babcock? Jordan Babcock, Brian LeBlanc, Aaron Thacker, all having issues.
One more car stranded in the grass, just watching on, taking a picnic there in the infield before getting himself back rolling. 3 wide, coming around to the final corner. What a move for Flams to make the run. While around the outside went Augustino. Ron Wolf trying to go 4 for 4 as he works down the front straightaway. 3 wide now, and an all-out drag race. And how about that? Bump tragedy in the wet in Portugal.
They're going to have to get this sorted out before we get down to turn 1, or somebody's going to have to use the Brooks Clayton line all the way around the outside. Just about filing it out to 2 wide. Still kind of diving it in there. Wow, great job from all those guys to get out of that corner unscathed. A little bit further back to Plank. Plank and Tucker. Somebody spinning in the back. Is that Ronenberg?
It sure is, and he stopped on the line. That's a bad spot to find yourself stranded. He'll get himself rolling before the rest of the pack will get down to turn 1, but a nervy moment. And turn 1, I think, going to be one of those spots we're going to have to keep one eye on that one all night long. There's a lot of drivers that are right now in a world of hurt as a result of that one. Alex Cofford did make a start in the middle of the pack. He was already up to 15.
Yeah, Cofford making a lot of moves. When do you come in and put the dry tires on, right? I mean, obviously, we're not quite there yet, but these cars are going to move that water around quicker and quicker. You can start seeing you can start to see a dry line forming through the center of the hairpin down there. Somebody goes around. Dustin Echoes, I believe, stuck backwards.
It's Bueller.
Oh, that was Bueller. Dustin went off somewhere else.
Do we even have a Dustin Echoes in the field?
That's what I'm seeing on my. Is that Bueller? Is that Bueller? Is that his name?
Yeah, Bueller.
Yeah, but is that Dustin Echoes? Because he's always one of the guys that has a daggum name.
It probably. I mean, is your Dustin Echoes quote unquote the 58?
I'm trying to find it on here. It was on my eye overlay that it popped up.
Huh. You and I are looking at 2 different things that apparently. Wow! Look out! Around goes Ronenberg. Around will go Carlton. They were 3 wide, and I think they came together. And around spins the 017, and again, a nervy rejoin, but he's going to get that sorted without anything too bad. Again, you brought up the question, right? When do you come down for wet tires? Not now, that's for dang sure. Right now, the wet weather tires are lapping at about 217. The dry weather tires, they're looking 246s and down. They're still about half a minute slower. It was a huge miscalculation to start on dries.
Yeah, it might be another 15 or 20 minutes. And I would like to say Bueller is Dustin Echoes. That is his insane name for some reason. So
you said Dustin Echoes, and I was thinking, I don't remember reading that one out. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. They like joking around with us on the names, I guess. And I can't remember sometimes who's who, man. What is Mikhail Derbyshov, Michael Derby? That's an easier one, you know. But Dustin Echoes has nothing to do with Alexander Bueller. I'm not.
Tucker and Klenk.
Not a fan, man.
Tucker and Klein going side by side, and they were making contact door to door quite often in the sprint race, and they're ready to go at it for another round as they look to duke it out for that 12th place on the racetrack.
These two have been fighting since the heat race. I mean, they were fighting for second place all through that thing, which ended up turning out to be for the race lead. But neither one of them have really been able to go anywhere. Running in the 12th and 13th place spot, they've actually lost a position each. So kind of surprised to see them stuck back in traffic in the early going.
I think it's because they've been spending so much time fighting each other, right, that it doesn't leave them with much time to focus on fighting the other drivers in these battle packs. That's why you've been seeing them struggling so much to the point where they are.
I mean, they have been going at it since the drop of the green flag and even before that in the heat race. I mean, they never left each other's side, and they're just, they can't get over it, but they're letting Alex Crawford get back into the fight, right? Crawford started way back at the back of the pack. He actually was the one that pulled off on the race start. He pulled over to the grass, so we got another incident.
Another sizable incident at that. Looking like there's been a handful of drivers that have gone off in the same corner there. We'll take a look. Jeremy Castro, I think, was the start.
Yellow's out.
Random yellow flag will be deployed, and that'll give us the chance to look at a few of these yellow flags. I saw about 6 cars pop up with crash notices all at the same time, and all in the same corner, looks like. There goes Blevins, there goes Combs, all going around. They ended up stopped in the middle of the corner, and it wasn't done there because just a few seconds later, looking like quite a few spun out again, just trying to get it rolling.
I mean, I guess you're down at the bottom of that hill. The water's still congregated down there a good bit. So I guess it makes sense that that's probably the toughest spot to get going. But man, spinning up at the top of the hill this time. A little bit of contact with Tucker. That's going to let Clank get through in that fight that they still cannot settle.
That was Dupuis going around. Michael Derby caught on the AstroTurf. He had nothing to do but spin around himself and quite a big time there with Ronenberg. And then Jordan Babcock to end the replay string. Having to spin. That corner's been catching everyone out this run.
Why is it just, yeah, but why in the last lap has it just been so much worse? I mean, yeah, they've been struggling through 1 and 2, but it hasn't been like that the entire race.
I think it might be because a lot of the drivers are starting to struggle, right? I mean, the speed on this track is picking up as the water is going away. That might be one of those corners where there's still quite a bit of water hanging around to the base because, you know, it's at the bottom of a hill. So you have to always keep tabs open for it. And a lot of these drivers getting caught out by the higher speeds going through there.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I got to point out, even under these slow speeds they're going out on the racetrack right now, they're still kicking up a good bit of spray, right? So you can't come in and put the dry tires on it. The track is still entirely too wet. So this caution comes out probably a little bit too early to really force any strategy. I just can't see anybody putting those dry tires on after what we're seeing right now, and seeing what turns 1 and 2 were like that last time by. No way anybody pulls the trigger and puts on dries under this yellow.
The fuel numbers looking coming into this afternoon's race, it was looking to be about a fringe 1-stop, considering the difficult conditions. Remember, the fact that we're going so much slower here with all this rain means they're expending less fuel. So it's inadvertently helping them save a bit of gas in the process. And, of course, this caution, I think, will push them to that 1-stop mark around the halfway point.
Yeah, but will the track be dry enough to where making it a 2-stop and putting on dries 10 minutes earlier than everybody else, if people decide to put on the dries at 40 minutes remaining, could that be beneficial? Like, would you gain enough time if the dries become good enough here in about 8 minutes or so? It'll be interesting to see if that opens up a little bit of strategy. We could see it change between a couple 1-stoppers and a couple 2-stoppers that are trying to use the dry tires to their advantage. If we get to that point, I think the spray's still there, but you never know. In 8 minutes time, 4 minutes of those, 5 minutes of those are probably going to be racing. I think it'll be pretty close to that dry tire time.
No drivers sit a lap down. Your furthest car that is on dry tires still has not caught the tail end of the basin line after all this time. Adam Jackson's been having a heck of a time with it. He, Clanton, Noyes, Hammonds, and Purcell are the ones still on dries. Adam Klein and Rodney Flores did not opt to make the start for the sprint race, for the future race, sorry. So we are already down 2 before this race had even kicked off.
Yeah, but down to 48 cars isn't anything to drop your head about. 48 for the main event. Incredible numbers out here for the beer league. This has got to be fake pit stops, right? Are they all going to come down? Are they putting down dry tires already? There's still so much spray on the racetrack. I figured this would be too early. What?
Well, this is going to get interesting. Let's see how this will pan out as looking like the entire pack coming into pit road. And, well, I know you can't see it, so I'll keep you updated on the tire numbers. Graham Jordan, Greg Beckman, and Kyle Blevins all staying out on the racetrack and out on wet weather rubber. Same with Carlton, Barrett, Campbell, Murphy staying out. Everyone going up onto Jackson, the looks of things, that it is a busy place, pit road. Our timing overlay is going ballistic trying to keep up.
I cannot wait to see how many of these guys are on. I mean, they got to be putting on dry tires. There's no way they're putting on another set of wets. So this shocks me. I did not think that this many people would be coming down. Maybe to top off on fuel, but wow.
Dry tires all around is looking like the call. Still waiting on a handful to switch over, but yeah, looking like for the most part, everyone going to be down on dry tires. Adam Jackson staying out. He was already on dry tires, so he'll head up the dry tire runners. Clanton staying out. Hammond staying out.
Well, I want to see them come around 1 and 2 under yellow, trying to catch the pace car, because there's still a good bit of standing water. We saw people wrecking on the wets 3 minutes ago. I mean, if they're pushing at speed, I'm telling you. They're spinning out of 1.
Oh, there we go. There's one around. That's Ron Wolf. Wolf facing the wrong direction, and he's going to rejoin right in front of Todd Badol. Sorry, that was Dupuis.
It's definitely drying out over there, but if we get to green, not this time by, but the next time by, I still think it's gonna be decently wet over there in certain areas, and we're gonna see some people going off into the paint and wrecking.
I think it's gonna really depend on how much they can dry that line out under caution, because you still have 1 lap left.
Well, people are overshooting the hairpin, almost went into the kitty litter. Dude, oh, this is going to be bad. If it's still this wet whenever we go racing.
So right now, the situation on the racetrack, the top 11 all stayed out. Alexander Hammonds dropped to 14th. He did not manage to beat the rest of the field out of pit road. Jackson and Clanton are on dry tires. They have been from the get-go, but their tires are considerably more worn than the cars behind them are. Right now, 9th on up, all still on wet weather.
Oh man, this this restart is going to be something. There's still a lot of water on the racetrack. I mean, it doesn't look like there's water where they're running, but I see the spray, and I mean, it's.
Around goes Verstappen under caution.
It's there on both ends. Yeah, this is going to be tough, man. We're still under yellow. I know they're catching the pace car, so they're running a little faster, but at race pace, this is going to be chaos.
Verstappen spotted the same corner that was already catching them out on wet weather tires earlier on. Caught the.
Well, and you saw what he did, right? Yeah, he just touched it, and as soon as he touched it, it ripped the car around. I mean, they're going to be pushing and using every bit of the racetrack on this restart. You're not going to tell me that somebody's not going to run out into the curbing, run into the pavement, and by somebody, I mean half the field.
So, I'm going to get off topic for a minute, right? I think we can all say movie theater popcorn, some of the best popcorn. I ordered a giant bag of it that got here a little while before this race started, and it is going to be, I'm betting, over half empty by the time this race is over with how entertaining this is going to be.
Okay, I was about to say, how the heck are we going to merge this together? But, you know what, that's fair. I was like, I thought I was the king of going off topic, but that was out there, and then you figured out a way to get them together, so I'll give you props for that. But yeah, this is, I mean, look at the bottom of turn 1. Look at the apex. That's a tight corner, and, well, the apex is water.
It's not just a tight corner, it's a one-line corner, which is the big problem.
Well, yeah, and if you go wide, you go into the paint, which is even if it's just barely wet, you're going around on dry tires. I feel like it's just too wet.
I'm pretty sure Brian LeBlanc just spun around at the tail of the field, and he did. I heard tires squeal, and, well, around he went. This is going to get interesting. Hedge your bets, folks. How fast will it take for the dry weather tires to finally come into play more effectively than the wet weather?
I mean, I definitely think, I think it's going to be probably 5 laps, but those 5 laps are going to be terrible. I can't wait to see it. I mean, I'm going to be perfectly thrilled in the press box. I can tell you that right now. But if I was behind the wheel on dry tires, I'd be hoping and praying that another solar flare hits, because we need a little bit of heat in the racetrack.
We'll have about 40 minutes left to go when we take that green flag. 1/3 of this race down, and still 2/3 to go. We're not even at the halfway mark, and already we're getting this hyped up over strategy. Quite a few drivers we're not used to seeing to the front this season up at the point. Drivers like Jordan, Beckman, Blevins, and more, like Ryan Murphy.
Yeah, split strategies in the field, new faces up front, and even the front runners in the dry tires are a little bit different names than what we've been seeing so far in the beginning portion of this race. Front of the field entering sector 3, so about to get under green. I'm telling you, man, turns 1 and 2 are about to be ridiculous. Who's the first car on dry tires? What place?
That would be 10th. Steve.
Oh, man. I'm telling you, this is everybody. I think from 9th on forward should get through turn 1 pretty decent, unless they get together. But
Ooh.
Everybody behind that is going to be skating.
Darling got a really bold call. He pitted, but pitted for wets.
Wow. I mean, he's going to be passing a lot of people at the beginning, I think.
We'll work through the final corner this time by. 40 minutes of racing action remain. Ram Jordan looking to lead us off. That spray is dissipating, and this race is about to kick into overdrive. Safety car is going to be into pit road this time by. And the green flag is going to get up and get back in the air. A lot of stacking up in the back end. Nobody's going yet. And they're still jamming on up here. Finally, the green flag waves. And now the whole package is disconjoined. We go 4 wide on the front straightaway with the leaders in a bad dash down to turn 1.
Oh, this is not good. Everybody's on dry tires back there, and they're all 3 or 4 wide. Coming down to turn 1. Oh, my word, this is insane. Getting down to the corner.
There we go.
They're making further up.
Around they go, multiple cars going around, but how about that? They actually kept that together pretty much perfectly apart from that one mess. I'll give them props for that. I'll say that was a clean restart.
I can't believe it, man. I mean, we're all on dry tires. I see the spray, man. Oh, you can still see there's some standing water on the exit. They've got to be careful about where they run. I see some in the paint. Coming out of the next corner, they both go off in the kitty litter. This is what I was talking about. It's wet out there. You can't get on the paint when it dries.
Multiple cars firing downhill in towards the hairpin. Do we all make it through clean? A couple of cars making contact. Still 4 wide.
Wow.
As you work your way through, a few cars getting bunted around, but we're still not seeing any really major pileups. A couple single car incidents, but other than that, we're clean and green.
Can't believe. I mean, with how much spray we're seeing, I figured they would at least be a decent ways off the pace. But their only worry is getting off in that paint. I feel like that's the worst spot. As we see another one. Yeah. Eric Cronenberg, that was thank you for proving my point.
Taking an extended look from the Goodyear blimp as you fire these cars up and around on what is an absolute monster of a time. There's still 3 wide even further up the grid as well, with a lot of cars having problems, some going off track, but for the most part, we're keeping it relatively clean and green. Jordan Babcock, though, on the backslide. He was one of the wet weather starters in this race. And Ryan Clanton, on tries, is up to 8th.
I'm shocked. I mean, color me surprised. I cannot believe this. I figured there would be a whole lot more carnage. The field's still relatively together, even with a couple of the issues. I just really can't believe it. We still see the water kicking up. There's issues, like you can't get too low down there in the final corner, but I guess it's far enough off the racetrack that it's just not affecting these guys too much. I really thought the drives would be worse for these guys tonight.
Jordan, Campbell, Flams, all line astern as they look to thunder it down the front straightaway. 3 wide down to the opening corner. And who's going to come in on top? Neither driver's yielding. They sandwich together. Whoa, hello!
Whoa.
One car's around. That's Corey Barrett. Spun around somehow. They split him. And there's still 3 wide down to turn 3.
There's no way. There's no way they get out of this unscathed. This is unbelievable driving by guys in dry tires. And we still got water in the racetrack. There's 3 wide again. They won't stop going. 3 down towards the hairpin. Who's it going to be? Evan Campbell on the outside. Just got undercut like crazy. Still 3 wide down to the braking zone.
Oh, that's going to not go well. They come together at the apex. They're able to get it sorted, and around will go Giovanni Romano. So I know that's a lap car right there that just got spun around to the tail end. Goodness gracious. Man. How they kept that together is beyond me. Take a look from above.
This is unbelievable. There's no reason that they should be able to make it 3 wide for that long. All racing that hard.
Look at this. 4 wide to split them. And
That's
they
fantastic.
never stopped going 3 wide.
I mean, they all got as good of a run out of this corner as they possibly could, and the only one that didn't cuts them back on the inside of the racetrack immediately. Chris Flams immediately throws it 3 wide coming out of the next corner once again and comes out on top.
Well, another mouthful of popcorn later, and we are still under green flag conditions. That warranted a handful. I mean, Steve McClendon getting around Graham Jordan for 5th. The dry tire's on the move. McClendon working his way up through this field. Looking like a couple drivers might be on the backslide here, slipping back throughout this pack. It is clustered up right now from about, well, really, realistically for all the spots from about 7th on down.
I'm going to guess the spray that we're seeing is a visual bug, right?
No, it is not. Hard into the wall for the 703 of Matthew Dupuis.
Man.
And a big hit into the wall.
I mean, look, the track is dry, though, man. How are we seeing? Oh, no. Oh, no.
Well, the spray is dissipated. It is not a visual bug. I can guarantee you that. It does hang around for a bit. You just don't see the puddles anymore.
Man. I gotta point out, Chris Flams is the one that was that came out on top of that 3 wide move, and he's got a hell of a front hood. I love that paint job that Chris Flams has, and setting Tennessee on fire. I like to see it.
Oh, big lick into the fence there.
Matthew Dupuis, we saw it in qualifying a lot. The heat races not so much, but it made a return. A little too wide coming out of that last corner, and well, the one thing that can still catch you out is the wet paint, and I just wasn't the outcome that Dupuis was wanting. He was having a pretty good run.
You can see though, like the spray is still present, but it is not nearly as powerful as it was earlier on. In fact, it's almost gone now in some portions of the racetrack. It ebbs and flows depending on where there is still water milling about on the racetrack, and it is most prominent at the bottom of the hills, where that water is going to be staying around for a while yet.
Yeah, so there's really just like certain apexes you can't hit, or you can't get too close to. That was one of them right there.
Pretty much every
You don't want to get too close. Yeah, just don't hit the curbing, basically, on the inside. Keep it out of the curbing, and obviously the paint too. It's jutted out a little bit further from the curbing, so you gotta give it a little bit of room. Well, there we didn't really see it, but yeah, I guess you can get away with it a little bit. But there's a couple of these. I mean, you see the inside of the final corner is still completely covered in some areas. If you clip that water in the wrong spot, you're going around.
But yeah, I mean, you look at the spray here, right? I mean, earlier on, you couldn't see a dang thing out the windshield, and now it's almost like it's not even there at all. 3 wide again down the main straight. Romano is gunning for it. He is going to take that one down the inside of Campbell. He's going to try to go 2 for 2 on McClendon. He's going to be given some help here by Josh Freed down the straight, but Freed going to go for glory as he sends it down the inside in the turn 1.
Oh, still tight, 3 wide, all the way to the outside, into the oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm talking about, but there's still 3 wide coming, yeah, through turn to 3. Goodness gracious, we're having a rough time tonight, but gets shoved out, but he's still going to take the position. Good move from Romano, terrible call from the booth.
Romano set the fastest lap of the race last time by. The first sub 2 minute 10 second pass of 209.17. That was in tandem with Alex Coffert's 209.32, just a little ways up the road.
Reed's still trying to make moves on Evan Campbell into the hairpin. I think he's finally able to win out. Actually, he's still stuck side by side. Reed cannot get past Campbell. Another side-by-side battle.
At first I thought you said, oh, never mind, he still sucks. I was about to say, wow, we have no chill tonight, don't we?
No. I've got some limits. Well, I don't know. I think I've called out a guy for sucking before, but not in the beer league, man. Half these guys are drunk. I would, I mean, come on. If I called out a drunk guy for being bad at driving, I mean, that's a pretty common occurrence, right?
Kyle Blevins, and there's the second caution flag. And that is a break that the guys on wet weather tires desperately needed, and they got it. They'll be able to come down, get onto the dry weather tires, and be good to go to the end of this race. The fuel numbers is what I'm now concerned about for everybody that stopped in the first quarter.
Well, you said this was a borderline one-stop, right?
Only because of the weather, though. Otherwise, it would be a two-stopper like every other.
Then they're not going to have enough gas if they pit right here, unless they save heavy. Because they'll be burning more gas because we're in the dry. You can push that thing more. It was only a 50-50 to make a one-stop whenever they were running slow lap times. They're going to be pitting with 29 minutes left, maybe a little bit less, and they'll be able to save some under caution. But if it was borderline in the wet, I think it's going to be a close fuel mileage race.
All right, well, we're going to take ourselves a step back. Caution number 2, and we are halfway home in the beer league.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Getting set to return to Green Flag Racing. Alex Crawford with the lead. The top 8 and more staying out. About a 40-60 split. 6% of the field coming down to pit road. We're green this time.
Gonna have to see what strategy plays out. Do they have to come down pit road one more time, even if they came under yellow? Last restart was a huge checkup. What's it gonna be this time with Alex Crawford coming back to the green flag?
Well, they're already jamming it up at the back of the field here. Crawford launching early. Not as big of a jump, but still enough to spread the field out. We are green once again in Portimao as we run it back down and in towards turn number 1. Fanning out all the way down to the racetrack. 3 wide into the opening corner.
Yeah, still have a lot of battles on the racetrack, even though that restart was a little bit more spread out. It all gets together, or everybody comes together through turn 1. 3 wide battles all throughout. Couple drivers off the racetrack, tire smoke everywhere. Front bumper laying out on the racetrack, and somebody stuck sideways on the bottom of the exit of turn number 2.
That's Romano that got turned around. One of the drivers that stayed out.
Well, I mistold you under the break. Yeah, he pitted late.
Okay, well,
yeah,
Romano's still wrecked anyway. That's the point.
That was bad information from the investigative journalist, so that's unfortunate. But man, 3 wide coming down into the hairpin, gets settled out to 2. Almost a bumper from Jason Lee. But he's able to get on the brakes a little early enough. But man, heavy contact behind. Clank gets into a couple guys. And now I think that's Verstappen stuck sideways.
And more crashing up the road. They're still spinning around. Still spinning around.
No.
Still
Holy
getting into
cow.
each other.
Now Verstappen's in it. Shane Cameron's in it. Cronenberg, Adam Malhot, Keaton Crothers, Darren Bailly. Everybody's wrecking.
Still
wrecking. Flying. Jacob Noyce, Tyler Carlton, Adam Jackson, and Chris Flams. Giovanni Romano again. This is unbelievable.
What is going on at the top of the hill? This is the big wreck that happened deeper in the pack as they were all stacking it up. Everyone just piling together, and then it just fell apart for the pack coming around through the second hairpin there.
Well, if I stayed out, I would really be liking my call now because you wouldn't be stuck in this hornet's nest back here for 15th on back. Clank throws it in heavy on the inside. Huge contact, kicks off a huge wreck in the hairpin. And then coming out, it just seems like everybody... they couldn't come disconnected. Was that Clank that was still stuck backwards?
I think it was, yeah. And then they still ride further up the road, and then even further up the road, it falls apart for more. They're already wrecking up the road in the back. There's Jacob Noyce flying in with the head of steam. I thought Ramone wrecked it intentionally. He was avoiding another driver and got caught in the wet grass.
Oh my word, they just would not stop wrecking. That's hilarious. The longest wreck in green flag TV history.
Just like from Talladega Nights, how we should have thrown a Wendy's commercial in there.
You would have loved a popcorn ad.
No kidding. Hey, Cineplex, our ads are open if you want to buy one on Green Flag TV. Brooks Clayton, Matthew Dupuy, and Austin Tucker all duking it down 7th, 8th, and 9th as they look to lunge for down the road and in towards, I believe it to be the Samsung corner. I could be wrong with that one. I'm not familiar with the corner names, so I do apologize for that one if I'm completely butchering your favorite turn names. But right now, Dupuy charged after Tucker. That big wreck has disconjointed most of this battle pack.
Yeah, it's kind of separated everybody. This is the first time all night that I've seen Austin Tucker and Alexander Clank has not been tucked up behind his bumper or into his door. So congratulations to them two for finally coming
Tucker
apart.
got involved in that, I think, because Clint got involved in that, because look how far back he is.
Yeah, I think he got spun backwards coming out of the hairpin after he made the initial move. I think there might have been a little bit of a rage after the first bit of contact. Somebody might have hooked him down the straightaway, and that kind of kicked off a little bit more of the incident that seemed to last forever.
And while there's more, Stan Hausman and Adam Jackson going at it. This is for 24th, as Jackson takes it down the inside of Hausman. Meanwhile, 3 wide, 4 wide in the pack, and clipping the wet curving, and around goes Graham Jordan.
Oh, that was close for somebody coming through. It's still close for all these guys sitting in the middle of the racetrack. He's doing a good job holding it down, but man, he's in the worst spot possible.
Just back up at that point. It's not going to happen.
Honestly, what a great job getting out of the way. I mean, that's all you can ask for if you're somebody else out on the racetrack. Did not make any egregious moves and eventually found a way to back up. So big credit to Graham Jordan there on that one. That was a tough one. I think Brian LeBlanc might have had a little bit of an issue as we're just about 3 into 1. They get it cycled out, but man, that's tight between them.
That was Bright, Williams, and Combs for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That do get out. Brooks Clayton is bailed out for the top runners. He is into pit road.
Well, I think I know that he was one of the guys that stayed out, right? But I feel like that tells you that you got to pit one more time. Everybody in the field, because that was really, really early for him to come down. Feel like even everybody that came down under that pit stop still has to come down. Late move down into the hairpin. Not going to pan out. Where there are battles, man, they're good. Late moves, been fun racing. But the pack has gotten spread out on that last restart.
Ryan Clanton and Aaron Thacker going side by side, and the Ruffles machine of the 816 is going to blitz around the 25. So put Thacker up on Clanton into 13th on the racetrack. And throughout all of this, there is still only one car that is a lap down, and that is Christopher Darling, who is out of the race. Everybody that's on the track right now is still very much on the lead lap and in the running. That's the last place car right there.
You never know with this strategy. I don't know if there's some guys that are saving fuel heavy, trying to make it one stop. Oh, we got another driver off the racetrack. Ben Williams.
That was one of your podium position battlers.
He was in 2nd place, man. Oh, man. I think he had just got passed for 3rd, or jumping up back to 3rd, and then gets suckered into a battle for 4th and turned off the racetrack.
And then when that was going on, Graham Jordan having a lazy spin into the hairpin as well. And the number 14 going to go around. Pulls a little donut, gets it going. Verstappen, the first penalty of the night for a drive-through.
Oh, man, and he's stuck sideways.
That would be why.
Yeah, that would do it. We've seen Verstappen have a pretty rough night, so not too surprising. That's definitely not the Oh, wow. Okay, well, innocent bystander in that one, right?
He was looping it on the way in, but he managed to gather it up and just got turned in on by the car on his outside. 3 wide again. This is for 8th. 7th, sorry.
I can't believe they're able to make this work into turn 1. Oh, that's probably the worst we've seen it, and somehow it's the car that's single file behind him that goes off the racetrack. Matthew Dupuis. That's funny. The 3 wide guys got through, but Matthew spun it out.
Ronenberg now with a penalty for the drive-through. The 07 team, one of the main front runners in Season 5, is around.
Yeah, even though that most of the battles have sorted themselves out, there's still a couple on the racetrack that are just heart-in-your-mouth moments. We got a car off the racetrack again, just driving in a little bit too deep, getting put off, going down into the hairpin, allows McClendon to take the 7th place spot. Ben Williams dropping again after that issue down in the kitty litter earlier.
This is for 7th place on down, and it's all a very intense battle right now. Giovanni Romano putting it down the fast lap of the race last time by a 205.17. One of the fastest laps of the afternoon. In fact, it is the fastest lap of the afternoon. That includes in qualifying, which was an all-wet qualifying session, remember. So we are now seeing lap times that would have absolutely annihilated the qualifying times.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Romano, even though he's running that fast, he's just inside the top 40, right? I mean, he's way off the pace because of the incidents from earlier, as we see another one. Is that Alex Harrison going around? Yeah. think Corey Barrett's had an issue as well.
Corey Barrett has had an issue, and a few drivers about to have an issue with his 21st on back. Here come the leaders. Bright, Combs, Lee, Bueller, all into the pit road for their final stops of the night.
Crawford's still out on the racetrack, but these are the guys that did not pit under caution coming down pit road, all in the same lap. It tells me they ran it just about dry. So Crawford probably has one more lap in the tank. And with it being, what, they pitted on lap with like 44 minutes left? I mean, they made it a good chunk of time.
Woo! Ben Williams wants to truck it over the curbs in turn 1.
It's going to be close on if these guys that pitted are going to make it, man. This is going to be a great strategy race that comes down to the last second.
Caution window is now closed. That, of course, we already had our second caution, so that was already a done deal.
You say that, but we've had 3 cautions in a race before.
We have. I don't think we're going to get that tonight, though. Watch this here from Williams as he hits this curb hard and just launched that thing.
Good job just hanging on to it in the end. I mean, that could have been way worse. He just drops a spot. Not too bad for Ben Williams. And a little bit of air time. So, you know, you get put on the broadcast for it. Oh, Jason Lee getting put on the broadcast for getting a little bump and run there to the IPA machine on the outside. Not able to get the spot, though.
Literally and figuratively got some air time there for Ben Williams. Oh, went into the paint! Will go Tanner Klein, and Klein spins it around.
Yeah, I thought that was Jason Lee. It was actually Tanner Klein that had that late move, but, well, he got off of him and didn't spin him out, but no good deed goes unpunished, and Tanner Klein just found that out the hard way.
And Klein continuing his drive through the field, gets around Adam Jackson. That was the pass made for 18th, and Chris Flam's going to be at risk of losing another one as he's battling it out with Alexander Klenk.
Alex Crawford on pit road.
Your race leader pitting in. And this will be his final scheduled stop of the night. Now we wait to see how the strategies pan out for the rest of the field.
Yeah, he came in here and roasted the field after Watkins Glen, calling the field a bunch of dummies for not understanding strategy. So if this pans out to be a poor move from Alexander Crawford, or Alex Crawford, you better believe we're going to be giving him a load of crap on the broadcast. Because it's looking a little nervy. It's looking close that a lot of these guys are going to be able to make it without stopping again.
Jacob Noyes and Baron Morton going at it for 23rd to 24th. And how about that? Noyes into pit road. He couldn't go to the end, so Noyes takes it to the lane. He's one of those cars that I believe stayed out on wet weather tires under the first yellow flag, while other drivers are still locked in battle elsewhere throughout the field.
Yeah, Alex Crawford came out side by side with a really fast Alexander Klenk who's moving through the field. That's going to be side by side for the 16th place spot, I believe. Maybe 7th, or sorry, a couple of the drivers pitted, so they're actually up to a battle for 13th. Excuse me. But Crawford has been the quickest guy on the racetrack all night. I feel like he's got to get this spot as soon as possible, not lose too much time. But this is the danger of his strategy. He could get held up big time by these faster guys that are stuck in the middle of the field.
So Crawford and Klenk continuing to do battle here as he will look to work it down through the middle portion of the racetrack. It's often regarded as the roller coaster section because of the violent, almost elevation changes that you can get. I mean, look at this steep downhill drop there coming through the middle of the corner.
And Crawford trying to do whatever he can, but he's just not been able to get the run on Alexander Klenk. But the door has kind of opened to Chris Flams, who's trying to fight around the outside, was not able to do it. Just a little bit too deep into the corner. Crawford fading inward, but flipping that water on the inside. Don't want to do that. Don't want to ruin your run. Gets through it that time, but has not been able to find a way past Klenk. But Klenk is still running down the two in front of him, right? Evan Campbell and Shane Cameron are coming into this fight. If Klenk picks up those spots, you got to think Crawford will too.
You have to remember as well, Flams and Crawford, they are teammates. They're both running the dumpster fire colors, so that will no doubt be playing a hand in how this battle pans out, as well as Crawford looks like he's backing off a little bit more here, maybe trying to set up a run on Clank here through some of the corners that he's not as ideal at. Crothers losing out to Agostino as... Sorry, no, Hammond's losing out to Crothers as they work their way around through turn 1.
Yeah, Crothers able to snipe the 8th place position coming down into turn 1. Seems to... I didn't really think turn 1 would be that good of a passing zone, but we've seen 3 wide down into that little short shoot time and time again. It's honestly surprised the heck out of me. I'm loving these Toyotas. As unfortunately, we got another driver spinning off. Was that Barrett Morton?
Yes, it was.
But it's fun. Ugh.
You're learning the schemes now.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Not terribly confident yet?
I might just be going off of iOverlay telling me the crash report.
Oh, well, there you go.
Car spinning equals crash on the overlay.
Well, whatever works, right? As there goes Dupuis around. Oh,
Dupuis and Babcock. Yep.
Yep, nailed by Jordan Babcock.
Actually, ooh, man, it's been a rough one, man. But the rain has just thrown everything for a loop at the beginning, and then the strategy at the end has made this fascinating. I just don't know if anybody ahead of Clank can make it. Is anybody saving enough gas? Are they even thinking about saving? Or the strategy? I just would not expect Cofford to make a big gaffe after talking so much crap. Oh man.
I mean, he's getting aggressive. He's trying to find a way around these guys. And you want to know why? Because he knows he's racing Clank.
Did Clank pit too under the?
I believe he
just
did.
recently?
He might be racing Campbell, because Campbell, I don't think. Well, no, Campbell also been on the lap 12 right now.
No, Clank
this
has
driver up that came in on the green.
Yeah, Clank has 8 laps on his tires. Cofford has 2 at the line. So Cofford is the highest runner out of any of the short guys. Greg Beckman pitted last time by. Gonna have to see how far back he falls as everybody's passing him on the iRacing timing and scoring. But Cofford moving up to the 12th place spot around the outside of Shane Cameron, and they kind of stacked up in front of him, allowing him to have an opportunity in the 2.
Handful of other cars duked out for spots as they are going to quickly sort themselves out. Meanwhile, Clank, Campbell, Cofford, and Blevins all under a blanket. So 10th through 14th, all going at it. Cofford looking to the inside of Evan Campbell. Deep on the brakes, and oh, hello. Bit more spray as Clank caught the curbing.
That almost opened the door for Cofford to make a move, but Clank ended up getting a good enough run off of the corner to prevent Cofford from getting all the way up there. Good bit of spray as they get down to the apex. Still a lot of standing water in some of the downhill portions, but you can see on that exit, pretty dry. Not really too much risk unless you're Chris Flams at the back of the pack going through the gravel.
Well, and the reason why it's dry there, it's at the top of a hill, so all the water that was up there, it runs down to the bottom. Just like we keep saying, it's physics, and it's amazing that Irish has been able to weather the rain to do that sort of thing.
It's honestly way better than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think it was going to be any good. Not the first iteration, but we see Nate Franklin and Aaron Thacker off the racetrack.
I think one went around and the other piled into him. Yep.
Well, that's a pretty good call.
They both spun around. Completely separate incidents.
Okay, well. I thought you made a good prediction there, but
I mean,
gonna have to dock you some points on that one.
I think it's fair enough. It's been pretty much every other incident, but yeah, they both got caught out in almost the same place.
I think we're gonna have to take away some popcorn.
You're not taking away popcorn. You have to come to
I'll
Canada.
take away all of it. Worth the plane ticket.
Well, while you're at it, come down to the racetrack this weekend.
Called my bluff.
Yeah, there you go. John Combs.
I'm not coming to Canada.
John Combs finds the inside of Chris Bright, and that was for 16th. Further up the road, Campbell, Cameron, and Chris Flams all in the line, 12th through 14th. And will we see 3 wide into the hairpin? We will not.
I thought Flams was going to make the move. I thought he'd put a challenge there on Campbell, but it looks like Campbell's going to get the better of these two guys coming out of the corner. Well, still tight between the two. Actually did not get a good run. It's going to offer the opportunity back up to Shane Cameron up the inside.
Shane Cameron takes the spot away. Evan Campbell and Chris Flams sit second and third in the train. Way out the road, Josh Freed is on an absolute tear at the head of this pack. He is sitting 3.5 seconds clear of Tom Adol and only with 5 minutes to go.
Does he have to pit, though? I don't know, man. I don't know if he's got to come down pit road and get a splash of gas. Does anybody up at the front have enough gas to make it to the end? Are they all good? So many unknowns coming to the last 5 minutes of this thing. You know, I have to bet on Crawford because of what he said at Watkins Glen. He called everybody idiots for not knowing their strategy. So he's gotta have this one in the bag, right?
If he can hang on to this lead and hang on to the fuel, then this will be a great win for Josh Freed and some much needed points on the board.
No, that's a great point. And look, the top three, they're not in the Pro Series, right? I don't know exactly what they're called, but they're not the A squad of drivers. They're not the top 10. Yeah, they're not the pros. They're the amateurs, man. They're down there. Oh, that's kind of rude, but oh man, Crawford in an accident with Nate Franklin.
Uh-oh. And we're about to get a battle for the lead as well, as Vidal reeled in 4.3 seconds on the last lap alone. But a big problem you mentioned with Alex Crawford.
Oh, I think Freed is just saving gas. He's got to, right?
Crawford got nailed, and well, right when we cut away, you saw Vidal make that huge lunge to the inside. Here it is again. As, hello, Freed. Having an issue of some sort there. And that's going to put Tom Vidal pretty easily. Oh, no, here's the move for the lead. That was a different pass altogether, but made that look to the inside, and Vidal now up to the point. Fredo's picked up the pace. He's tagging onto the back end. But I think you're right. He's trying to save to make it.
Yeah, he ran 4 seconds slower than Todd Modol last time. I mean, or over 3 seconds, 3.5. I mean,
He didn't make a mistake either, so.
That's got to be fuel saving, right?
You'd imagine so, but then that brings to the question on what the heck Vidal's doing getting out with this big gap.
Maybe he's been saving the whole time. I'm telling you, this is why I love fuel mileage races. You really just do not know what is going to happen at the end of this thing. We got no idea who's going to win it. Madol up in the lead might have no gas. Freed, it seems like he was saving for that whole entire lap, losing a ton of time, already dropping a second off of Madol this lap after getting passed in sector 2. So I'm telling you, this is it's anyone's bet.
Steven Glendy going to drop a few spots to pick up some of the draft. He is also trying to save. They watch the battle for fourth between Augustino and Keaton Crothers as they work back to the front straightaway.
Keaton looking to the inside, coming down into turn number 1. Man, late on the brakes, trying to get the apex first, but gonna allow the car on the outside to get a huge run off the corner. He's gonna lose that spot. I mean, he just drove it in too deep into turn number 1, had to lift, had to get out of it.
And now Alexander Clank is on the backslide. He is also losing a bunch of time, trying to save enough to make it to the end.
Oh man. Well, where's Crawford? He's 10 seconds back. Oh man, he was 21, 22 seconds back. What if everybody up front has to save so much gas that they just let Crawford by? I mean, anything could happen at this point. Madol has pulled up to a 3-second lead. I mean, he's acting as if he's got fuel to burn.
Well, what Crawford, remember, has to do, he has to reel in 5 seconds a lap to close out to Madol and make that pass. Because right now, it's 2 laps to go. Madol is not going to get there before the white flag falls. Well, he's going to get there before the white flag falls, so this is 2 to go here. Madol's going to make it around 1 more time.
Just does he have enough gas? Because if he doesn't have enough gas, then obviously that's 4 seconds less that Crawford has to make up. And he's still making up time. But it will be too little too late unless Madol starts sputtering. But I mean, everybody's saving back here, man. Crawford is flying.
Alex Crawford up to 8th. And continuing his charge, Josh Freed continuing to tank spots. He is down to 5th.
Yeah, Freed is in mega save mode. I think everybody else was at least somewhat saving at the beginning of the run and have given themselves an opportunity to make it. Todd McDowell coming to the white flag. Does he have enough gas? Can Todd McDowell do this thing in a fuel mileage race to the end from Portugal? Or will it be Clanton or Augustino or heck, Alex Crawford 8 seconds back?
Crawford's got a lot of time to make up in just one lap. He wants to make that happen. Keaton Crothers couldn't make it. He's into pit road. The Canadian going to be down and out. Well, Crawford will blitz around Hammonds. That will make him up for 6th.
Oh, man. I'm telling you, it's going to be close for so many of these guys. He might not be the only one. A couple of these folks might just be trying to tiptoe it to the line, coming across. Todd McDowell, though, he's up to a 3-second lead over Clanton, but Crawford is closing in. It's under 7.
Cameron, Flams, Campbell, Franklin, all into pit road as well. We are on the final lap of this race, and Todd McDowell has got to hang on for a long way if he wants to take that race win. 3.3 seconds back to Ryan Clanton for 2nd.
The difference might be that accident that Crawford got in, man. He's only 6 seconds back. Imagine if he never got caught up in that. He's up to the 4th place spot. That might be the difference in him winning and losing this thing.
Crawford gonna lunge in for it, and oh, here
my.
comes Clank, and Clank gonna take him out. Try to at least, and Clank gonna end up dropping back. Swing and a miss for the 013. Couldn't get to the door to move Crawford up and out of the way. The battle for 2nd rages on, and McDowell has started to drop back on pace. And McDowell, is he out? Don't tell me he's just spotted. I don't think he has. Thought with that sharp pull-off, he may have just run out, but looking like he's still keeping in, but he's losing that lead.
Entering Sector 3, the last couple of corners here. This tall McDowell sputter. Can he make it to the checkered flag? Just 2 more corners left for the 13. He's got to be running low.
It's all flat out from here. No more fuel saving on the cards. Into the final corner. McDowell feathering that throttle just a touch from the corner as he works his way around to the start-finish stretch. Up the hill. Todd McDowell wins in Portugal. Ryan Clanton secures 3rd. Augustino rounds out the podium, and Crawford on a fine recovery drive is forced to settle for 4th. And meanwhile, drivers deeper in the field are out. Josh Freed running out of fuel and coasting up the hill. He is in the same boat as Aaron Thacker behind.
Oh, it was a close one. I think Todd McDowell might be out of gas now on the front straightaway. No, he's got a little bit in it. He was maybe goofing around a little bit, but yep. Oh no.
That is painful. All he can do is watch as the rest of the pack streams by.
Oh man, this is tough. Does he go out of the top 20?
He's gonna have to have somebody shove him across the line here this way. 21st, 22nd, I think, got in there for the 22nd position.
23rd.
23rd. Was it the helmet again?
Man.
Probably the helmet again.
It might have been the. We might have seen the helmet twice in a row come into play. I can't.
Boy.
Oh my goodness.
Ryan LeBlanc and Nate Franklin coming across the line. Barron Morrison and Adam Joseph Mailhide have yet to cross. What a way to end this race.
I love races like that, man. And Todd McDowell, we have not seen him win a race since we started broadcasting the beer league. And he brings it home. Not only did he have the right strategy, but, I mean, most of the cars took his same strategy in the field, right? But he was the only one that was able to put that much distance between himself and the rest of the field coming to the end. He was the guy to make it happen. And he had the best pace out of anybody that did it. So big congratulations to Todd McDowell. What a win.
A huge win for him. We're still waiting on the last couple of cars to cross the line, but an absolutely phenomenal fuel mileage race from the Autodromo Internacionale do Algarve here in Portugal. With all that said and done, I think we can finally say this race is at its close, and what a dramatic close it was. Let's take a rundown of your official post-race results this afternoon from Portimao. To close out the race, it is Todd McDowell taking the win by 3 seconds over Ryan Clanton. Tyler Augustino sneaks in for 3rd with Crawford his pick call not coming to fruition. He'll settle for fourth. If he didn't get into that wreck, oh, what could have been. Alexander Clay finishes fifth with Hammonds in sixth, McClendon seventh. John Combs, Kyle Blevins, Chris Bryant round out the top 10.
11th was Alexander Bueller with Austin Tucker in 12th, Josh Freed in 13th, Giovanni Romano recovers to the 14th place position, Jason Lee in 15th, Brooks Clayton 16th, Adam Jackson in 17th, Ben Williams finishes into the 18th place spot with Keaton Crothers in 19th, and Tyler Vietnam rounds out the top 20.
21st place holds Chris Flams with Aaron Thacker 22nd, Greg Beckman was 23rd, Darren By 24th, Evan Campbell in 25th, Shane Cameron 26th, Carlton, Harrison, LeBlanc, and Franklin round out the top 30.
Graham Jordan finishes 31st with Jeremy Castro in 32nd, Eric Ronenberg in 33rd, Matthew Dupuis 34th, and Barrett Morton rounds out the top 35. Michael Derby in 36th with Adam Mailhot 37th, Ryan Murphy in 38th, Ron Wolf in 39th, and Tanner Klein rounds out the top 40.
And the last cars in the lead level was Stephen Purcell, Jordan Babcock, Jacob Noyes, and Jonathan LeFevre. Stan Housen finishes 1 down. Corey Bear was 8 down, Verstuben 9 down. Darling did not finish this race. He finishes in the 48th spot with Adam Klein and Rodney Flores not starting the main event this afternoon. Only 25 laps, one of the shortest main events I think we have ever had in the history of the beer league. But with all that said and done, we're going to get a chance here to give a chat here, of course, to several of the drivers that finished this race up on the podium, and it is going to be a big win indeed for drivers like Tom Badol, who are able to come home and take up their first, the first win since we've at least come on board. Will drag that number 13 car up and into the broadcast booth. Todd, it is a first win in either this league's history for you or a long while, certainly to our most recent memory. But walk us through racing action this afternoon and the strategy call that sees you just barely taking the fuel run for a win.
Man, I don't even know what to say. First of all, thanks to the ice creamers here. But honestly, that was just a lot of patience, a lot of fuel saving with the last stint, and luck.
Kind of talk us through what the strategy game was like on trying to figure things out and how it was going to look with the rain tires with how the caution fell.
I just kind of followed Austin's lead on what he suggested at the beginning of the race, and then just being able to beat Cofford at his wet dream here was, the ideal case.
And, well, we roll forward now to week number 4. It's a huge amount of points on the table for you and a very valuable number of points indeed. How are you going to be able to capitalize on this working into week 4?
I don't think I'll be able to top this. I'm just hope to stay in the top 10. I think the ice creamers have been sitting right around P2, kind of really tight with P3 there. So we'll just try to keep the momentum going here, and we'll see what happens.
All right, we'll get set to see you then when we go racing 1 week from now. Congratulations on taking your first win of the season in a long time. We'll see you next time around.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for the broadcast.
Tom Adole joining us up here for the number 2 step on the podium, and the number 1
Number
step
2
on the podium. I'm already focusing up on the next driver, trying to track down Ryan Clanton. I do not believe we're going to get our second place running here this afternoon, so let's take a rundown instead and take you to Tyler Augustino, who is standing by with Austin.
Yeah, Tyler, good run for you tonight, finishing in a 3rd place position. A little bit of strategy at the end with the, running that stint long. What were your thought process whenever that caution flag came out? And did you think you would have to save so much gas?
Oh, I mean, after the first restart, I had just a terrible run of it. I fell from like 16th down to 30-something, and just told myself that I was going to commit to the Hail Mary strategy. And the second caution came out, and everybody in the voice chat thought it was pretty borderline whether you could make it from there. And I was looking at my fuel calc and thinking, you know what? We have a couple slow laps going into the restart. I think I can cut it close, and ended up sputtering just coming out of the last corner. So it was a little closer than I thought it was going to be. And I was saving really hard for the last 5 or 6 laps there. But yeah, like you said, it was a huge difference for me and paid off greatly.
What was it like running out there in the rain in these things, man? It looked like a blast from the broadcast booth, and it just looked crazy. So what was it like in qualifying and then getting into that heat race whenever the track was, still pouring pretty good?
It was terrifying, honestly. I mean, this was Crawford's dream. It was soaking wet, and he dreamt up this whole, weather pattern right from the beginning, just to try to make it a little bit uncomfortable for all of us. And I think he did a great job of it. And we were just constantly learning the track the whole time. It was every lap was different. With the heat that we had all throughout the race, just every lap trying a lot more than you would expect. But you almost get nothing out of the practice session just because you're fighting the car the whole time. So it was quite the challenge.
Well, we definitely had a heck of a strategy race here tonight, and you bringing home third place on the podium with a little bit of fuel saving there at the end. Man, it had us on the edge of our seats. What more do you think you needed in that last run? Is there anything you could have done different to maybe give Todd a challenge?
I think if I had saved a little bit more off the first couple of laps and I had a little bit more of a budget to work with, I just didn't feel comfortable fighting for the last couple of laps with the margin that I had. So I think if I just bought myself that margin a little bit earlier, really did that heavy saving at the earlier part of the stint, and might have made a difference for me.
Well, Tyler, congratulations on the top 3 finish, putting yourself up on the podium. Good night in the points. So looking forward to seeing what you can do next week whenever we go racing from, God knows where.
Thanks, guys.
That was our third place finisher, Tyler Agostino. Nolan, is that going to do it for us tonight?
It is looking like it is indeed going to do it for us here this afternoon, but an absolutely wild week of racing, and I mean, this race was fantastic. I cannot wait to see what is next down the line.
Yeah, no kidding. I almost wish that we could do the wheel spin live on broadcast, because I want to know where the heck we're going to be racing next week, and I want to know if we're going to have some more wetness. I want to know if the rain's going to be coming down again. We need it. We need it. That was fantastic, man. I loved the weather pattern that Alex Crawford came up with here tonight. I mean, it made for a hell of a race.
All right, well, we'll get set to see how everything's going to pan on out when we go racing 1 week from now for race number 4. Don't forget to check us out tomorrow night. The Speed Tires Plus Cup Series kicks off racing action in the chase for the Tires Plus Cup. They'll be down at, of course, the Chicagoland Speedway for race number 14. The TGGIL Truck Series on Saturday night swings out to the Martinsville Speedway for the bumper-to-bumper 250. That race may be delayed to Tuesday night, depending on how everything pans out for us over the weekend. What is guaranteed, though, the Classic IndyCar Series makes its return to the Worldwide Technology Raceway down in Illinois, and boy, it is going to be a thriller on Sunday morning at Sunday afternoon at 2:00 p.m. Eastern Time. For us here on Green Flag TV, that's all the time we got for one afternoon. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. My name is Nolan Rempel alongside Austin Edstrom. You've been watching the Beer League. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place on Wednesday night.